nerds, my name is Leslie and welcome to The Nerdy Narrative. On this channel, I like to talk to you about all sorts of bookish related things in many different genres. Science fiction, fantasy, horror, manga, comics, classics, nonfiction, poetry, short stories. You're gonna find a wide variety of things talked about on this channel, and it's really been interesting as I've expanded my reading horizons, how all of the different genres tie into one another and how different authors from different genres inspire and influence authors of different genres. It's just been really fun seeing all that work together. Today is Friday. That means it is time for my weekly reading wrap up. The first thing I want to share with you guys is Shelf Space has announced its summer readathon. That will be taking place the month of June, the entire month of June, and it is called the Olympics Readathon. I will have the Shelf Space Discord linked below. If you're interested in participating in this readathon, go by the Discord, look in the announcements channel for all of the information, the rules, and the form to sign up. You need to do that by May 24th. That is a hard cutoff. If you're not signed up by May 24th, you've missed out for this round. So again, don't forget to hit that description box down below for a link to the Shelf Space Discord if you're interested in participating in the Olympics readathon. Okay. Now let's talk about what all I did this week, what I read, what I'm still reading, and what I plan to read next. If you watched last week's wrap up, I mentioned I really wanted to focus on Winds of Strife by Yuji Gutman. I've been reading that on my Kindle. And I did. I finished it. As you can guess, I was really taken in by the magic system of this book. So much so that I feel like I didn't really give the characters too much of a chance. I do have 3 characters that are my favorite and another one that I really liked. And unpopular opinion is I really kind of enjoyed Nye's character. His character suffered a mental disorder or madness or I have theories, but I'll get into that later. And I'm going to reread this book in a few months for a couple of different reasons. One, I'm going to do a dedicated review, and I want to review a surprise that's coming. So more on that later, but I really enjoyed Winds of Strife. I am very excited to see where book 2 is going to take us in that series. I have some theories and predictions and some high hopes for that one, and maybe a few expectations as well. But like I said, I'm going to get more in depth on that in a later video, but I really did enjoy the story. It's very unique and interesting and different, but I would caution you, there are a lot of trigger warnings associated with this story. For this one, I know there are a lot that I've seen repeated in many different reviews, such as mental disorder, abuse, manipulation, and things of that nature. But the way these things are written in the story, it fits with the story, if that makes any sense. At any rate, the very next book has even more trigger warnings. In fact, I would say that Betty by Tiffany McDaniel has every trigger warning ever mentioned by anyone ever. This book is just filled with trauma. Just absolutely. There are tiny moments that are heartwarming and happy, but they are so fleeting. Just gut-wrenching. But it is beautifully written. After I finished it, I was reading a little bit of information about Tiffany McDaniel, and she is actually a poet, which makes sense because the imagery of this story that she is able to just write in is gorgeous. Her descriptions of scenes and things taking place is beautiful. It is the most beautifully written book. I absolutely loved it. But this family went through some stuff. It's a mixed family. A Cherokee Native American marries a white woman. That was not looked upon in a favorable light. Just within the family itself, because some of the kids resembled the white mother and another resembled the Cherokee father, and just the racism but in between the family members. I mean, it blew my mind. But this book is insanely impactful. You talk about shining a light on what these people went through. I do want to say it's based on a true story. A lot of the characters here are named after the author's family members. One of my friends sent me an interview with the author about this book. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but I am going to look into it. So I hesitate to say I recommend this to you when I think it would be really difficult for people to handle. It's got a lot of sensitive material in it. I had no idea. I went into this book completely blind. I had seen a lot of non-spoiler reviews. I did not personally read up on it ahead of time. I saw some of my friends were doing it for their book club pick, and I just jumped in. So I wasn't expecting what I got, and it was very hard to take in. And I did have to take several breaks reading it, but then again, it's so gripping that when I would pick it up, I would read a huge chunk at a time. I can't say, hey, I recommend everybody should read this book. Every trigger warning, I'm not kidding, rape, child rape, incest, bullying, racism, death, so much death, horrible family situation. I literally can't even, they're all here. They're just all here. So after Betty, we need to go into something inspirational. So the next book that I read is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor E. Frankl. And this book was perfect to read right on the heels of Slaughterhouse-Five. In fact, I fully intend going forward, if anyone ever says to me, hey, I think I want to read Slaughterhouse-Five, and if they say they've never read Vonnegut before, I'm going to strongly suggest reading this one first. This book is amazing. This is the second book this month that I'm about to tell you I'm going to reread. I'm going to reread it soon. I may even start it immediately because I want to go through, and I am literally, there are so many lines in this book that are just amazing. There would be so many times that I would just read one and it would just give me chills, and I would just have to stop and think about that one sentence and just how it made me feel, how it just clarified some feelings and thoughts I had. This book can come in so handy in so many different situations. Just how the power of changing your attitude about something, what that can do. How sometimes it's not about the how, it's about the why. And I mean, this book, hands down, 5 stars. I think in future tag videos, if somebody says what's one book you would recommend to everybody, I now have an answer. It is Man's Search for Meaning. And guys, it's little. It won't take, you could read it in a day. You could listen to it on audiobook in a day. I highly encourage it. It was just absolutely wonderful. Not kidding. There's so much in here for every situation in life. Just amazing. And the next book that I finished is the huge omnibus of The Green Lantern by Jeff Johns. This is the first one. I think there are 3, but there are 2 that I am buddy reading with the Codex Cantina and Ramsey from ReadAthon. So I finished the first one this morning actually, and I am really enjoying the Green Lantern comics, at least the Jeff Johns arc that we're reading. I love that there are so many artists and colorists involved. I'm getting exposed to a lot of the different looks of comics. That's been fun. But I really got taken in when we got deep off into Sinestro and the Yellow Lanterns coming onto the scene and starting a war with the Green Lanterns. That was the best part of this series so far. I'm not going to lie to you. If any of you are on any of the Discords I'm in, you've noticed my profile picture. I've changed it to the Yellow Lantern symbol. I have chosen my core, and it is the Yellow Lantern core. For those of you that don't know, the Yellow Lantern's power rings are powered by fear. that takes care of everything I completed this week. Let's talk about what I'm still working on. First up, I'm still working on Wizard and Glass. I am about 300 pages in. I really told myself I was going to slow down and enjoy it and just spread it out. But this series doesn't allow for that. It's so good. It's so good. I think I read almost 100 pages the first day that I picked it up. It just picked up with the momentum that we left off in with the Wastelands. I mentioned to y'all it was a huge cliffhanger, and that momentum just picked up. I'm loving, again, we have another tone shift, and I'm just absolutely enjoying it. And that shift in this one, flashbacks. I am getting some answers, guys. Finally getting some answers to some of the questions I've had since I read The Gunslinger. So as you can probably tell, I'm really enjoying my time spent in this one. The next book that I started working on this week is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. This is part of a read-along that is hosted by Thistle and Verse. The read-along starts May 15th. The goal is 100 pages per week until the trilogy is completed. Yeah, so I've already knocked out over 100 pages. There's no way I can stop. I am not going to be able to only read 100 pages per week. I actually will probably finish this book in the next few days. It's really interesting. It's earth magic. What's not to love about earth magic? But it's also sort of tragic. But I'm just ready for someone to start shaking things up. I always read multiple books at once, but I try to keep them in different genres because there's been times I've read a couple of fantasy series at the same time and they were so similar I got confused between them. But I noticed as I was about to show you my third book that I started this week, which is The Rave by J.R. Trask. I have 3 fantasy books going at once, but they're all so very different, extremely different. This one is the first book in the Raver trilogy. I mean, I tabbed the first dang page as important. And it's not even a prologue or anything like that. It's just simply a definition of 2 of the things that you are to assume that this book is going to be about. And the first one is Alf. Monsters of alien origin, neither beast nor men. Their relationship with humanity ever contentious at best. The Alf are humanity's primary rival for the title of apex predator. The 2 species grapple with one another atop the food chain, each vicariously teetering over the brink. And an Alf Raver is one who kills Alf. And for some reason, those 2 definitions really stood out to me and just got me amped up to start this story. And I've only just gotten started in this one. I think I'm about 70 pages in, but it's really easy to get into. It starts out with a really great action-packed scene that helps explain the world that this is taking place in. And one of the things that exists in this world, one of the Alf, which was a demon, or at least that's what I'm thinking it is at this point. And of course, this scene is how we meet our main character, Alina, who is a young Elf Raver who was trained to be an Elf Raver by her grandfather, who ran a school that trained these monster hunters. This book so far is giving me Harry Dresden feels, which I am all about. I'm really looking forward to getting deeper into this story and seeing what this world holds, so I'll definitely keep you guys updated on that. Alright, so that takes care of everything that I read and what I'm still reading, and I now remember why I kind of got messed up reading so many fantasy series at once. I was going to start reading Mongrels this week when I finished one of my other books, but I decided since it was little and floppy that I was going to wait and save it for this next week because Chris and I are going to be traveling home to Mississippi to visit our families, and I wanted to pack some smaller books to take and ones that would just be easy to hold, because last time when we went home I was reading Words of Radiance, and y'all, the Stormlight books were not meant to be hauled around. They're just not. So I will be starting Mongrels by Stephen Graham Jones, which is part of an unofficial read-along that Evie from She Was Only Evie and I are hosting. You can find a channel to chat about this book over on the Nerdy Narrative Discord, link in the description down below if you want to join us there. And then the other book that I'm going to take on my trip is going to be An Unkindness of Magicians by Kat Howard. Again, another easy little paperback to pack for a trip. That'll do it for me today. That's everything that I read, what I'm still reading, and what I plan to read next. Don't forget, if you're interested in signing up for the Olympics ReadAthon, hit that description box down below. Go visit the Shelf Space Discord. In the announcements channel, you'll find the Google form where you can sign up to be placed on a team. Deadline is May 24th. Thank you so much for watching today. If you liked this video, don't forget to hit the little thumbs up button. If you are not subscribed and you like this video and you want to see more of it, go ahead and click that subscribe button on your way down in the comment box. Again, thank you for your time today, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day and a fantastic weekend. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.